Да я в итоге жить...
I'm glad to be divorced and your sorry ass. You are pathetic, man.
Are you serious?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast and Motion Picture. This week's episode is on Anora. Anora, a movie about a sex worker turned escort turned, spoiler, bride of a Russian son of oligarch into, once again, some form of escort. Gentlemen, what do you think of Anora?
Well, before we get into it, Reed, I think you mentioned you wanted to do a 10-minute striptease in honor of the film. This isn't for our audio listeners, but Reed, take it away.
I actually don't want to do that, audience. For those of you listening, I am not entertained by this. You see, they are a working class bunch of people. I don't think it's funny, Noah, for you to think it's okay for me to appropriate their line of work. So, wow.
Well, what you demonstrated for us in rehearsal was pretty tasteful, so I don't I don't know why you're taking this angle.
But... All right, there was a rehearsal, everybody. We did choreograph a few things.
Yeah.
All right, Angus, what are your thoughts on old Anora?
Yeah, this was a very interesting movie experience that I had. I watched this in theaters. It was only in like the mainstream theater that I had for like 2 weeks, maybe, and packed theater. So I was sitting next to two strangers on either side of me watching this film. So definitely an interesting experience, but it is well worth its critical acclaim.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't mean to step on your toes.
No, I was just going to ask Yang the question, would you rather have watched it between two strangers or next to your dad? What would you...
I did famously watch Wolf of Wall Street in theaters with my father.
I think about that a lot, man. I actually do.
That's crazy. Could not be me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, stranger for sure.
Yeah. Now, there certainly was a lot of nudity in this movie, but that's just one little small drop in the ocean in terms of what this movie's about. It goes well beyond that. I saw a review for it, actually, if I might share, on IMDb. I pulled it up. I was curious about, I was trying to learn all the names of the Russian people. And I think I have them all down by now. Anyway, one of the reviews was like, how can you even call this a movie? There's not even dialogue in this movie. Unless you'd call dialogue nothing but swear words. And I giggled. I was like, what 1960 born person is writing this? Like, sorry, actually, that's even too close to now. What 1930s born individual has a problem with swearing in a movie about an escort? Are you really? You think it's all shits and giggles? Like, seriously. Anyway, had a good laugh about that. I think this movie, for whoever's watching it, and maybe, I guess clearly by that commenter didn't do the trick for them, I would have felt like it would have crossed that threshold and really put this story into the laps, if you will, of just about anybody who watched it in such a way that it felt very open. It felt very, I don't know, easy to get, easy to see what was happening. But I don't know. To you guys, what do you think was happening in this movie, I guess? Maybe I'm wrong. What did you see with your eyes? If you were able to see past the nudity, mind you.
I watched this movie twice this week.
Wow!
I had not seen it. On Monday when I first watched it, I knew I liked it, but I was also so like taken by the first like 30-45 minutes that when it hits that stop, like in the mansion when Toros and the broken nose guy show up, I didn't know how I felt about that. I thought it was really funny. Like in the moment I thought it was funny, but then I was like, what? Like I did not expect it to go that way at all. And then the rest of the movie I felt like I was a little less engaged until like the very last scene. And then the very last scene like transformed the way I thought of everything. And then I've been like marinating on it for like 3 days here, and I finished The Twins at like 4 p.m. and I was like, I'm just gonna watch Anora again, so my thoughts are like refreshed on it, and I loved it the second time. Like I didn't even watch it twice because I loved it so much the first time. Like I genuinely liked it a lot more on my second viewing. So I think there's a lot to discuss. I love a movie that has 3 distinct acts, and it kind of feels like this has that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think the last 2-3 minutes of this movie, there's a lot we could talk about just in there, but we don't have to do that first.
No. I to bring up that thought of the third act system here, I don't remember where exactly I read it in or if I watched it in a video, but I remember something got through me at one point when it came to making short films in terms of when you make a short film, you look at the act system, act one, act two, act three, drop it, forget about it. It's a short film. You don't have time to do that. You legitimately, things will fall apart if you try to stick to this traditional way. And then I thought about it and I was like, in a big 2 hour long movie, you gotta traditionally have a 3 act system. But in my mind, I always began to thought now, drop the 3 act system in terms of like this perfect sectioning off, and it can just become however distance. When I think of the third act of Anora, to me, it's literally like that last scene is the third act of just
I agree.
about a minute long is the third act to me. But that's just how I've seen it. But anyway, let's not really start with the end. Let's start with the introduction. I very much enjoy the storytelling and the monotony of her line of work, of the salesmanship, of going up to customers at this dance and saying, "Hi, you want to go to the back room? Like,
you want a private room?
Hey, you want to go to the back private room? I know a really nice room." Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say it made me want to get into that line of work, but I really liked how easily it was for her to be a salesman of just these people clearly want one thing and they just need to be let in. I liked how she doesn't even have to try at it. Like it's such a simple thing to her. I think I don't know. I got a big thought about all that, but I guess we'll get to that towards later on in the movie. And again, did you have between like kind of opening scenes at the club, at the mansion, going on the trip to Las Vegas, getting into it with Torres? Did you have a part that kind of swept you into everything?
I'll go to like what Noah says, like he liked the 3 act system. He liked how they were distinct. I mean, I liked it too. I think I've heard some people in some reviews where how distinctive change it is, it kind of takes them out of it. And especially just the sheer difference of just the euphoric first act beginning and like how really it is a shift to almost like a screwball comedy afterwards, which I personally loved. I love that. Was it Torres? He is the priest guy,
the
Russian priest guy. His character, I mean, I was so surprised. I was laughing so much at this movie. And that was a lot of fun watching him. And that last scene, it was absolutely heart-wrenching to kind of wrap your head around.
Yeah. I appreciate how last night I watched it. I watched it with the group, my three musketeers I watched with. And forget who said it. All three of those guys between Igor, Torres, and I forget the broken nose's name. There you go. All of them are inept in their own way, and very much so. It was very entertaining because while they're all kind of dumb idiots doing this job, they're all fluently bad at their jobs in such a way. Igor is okay at his job, it seems. Like he's able to do the task, but he still is not very good at communicating things.
They're also like phenomenal characters, each of them. To have those roles stand out in that way is crazy to me.
Yeah.
How he pulled that off.
It's like you were looking at like 3 different shades of gray and like each one of them you could tell was their own thing. Like, that was nice. I want to say, talking and going back for a second, the euphoric sensation of that first act. I don't know. I guess I don't want to say like I'm not trying to be like different here, but after we get through that first euphoric act and we get into that next set of everything, I felt like reinvigorated, not because I wanted to be done with this pure pleasure of just party. Like I was happy to see all these fun, easygoing characters enjoying life. Like that's good, not necessarily doing a ton of drugs, but anyway, if I might be a big old party pooper here.
But it was a fantasy.
Well, yeah, that's what they were living. They were living this big dream and they could do whatever they wanted because this guy had all the money in the world. It was never a question. But then when you get into the real world of it all, I just liked getting to see, like, it was fun seeing the Three Stooges, hitting each other the whole way. But to just see Anora have to kind of put herself to work beyond this easygoing, she's at the club. Hey, you want a private room? To suddenly she's trying to solve this puzzle of what happened to my husband. Like, I think that was, I don't know, after all of that you go through, like, she's a very capable, smart woman. To see her actually get to put that to a very real test and locate her husband on a binge, like, That's a great, I don't know, I guess it's an odd thing to say to call you know, such a character as Anora this, but she's a very heroic moment for her. She faces down the dragon of the world and she gets the princess back. That is her very rich oligarch husband. So I was
Yeah,
happy to have that in this movie. I think it's very rewarding.
I do think euphoric is a good way to describe the first part of this movie. And it's this story is something we've seen a lot where two people meet, fall in love, have the best couple weeks of their life, something happens. That's a very tried and true formula. But something that stood out to me is like this felt very modern. This felt like a 2025 kind of version of this where like everyone's hitting their vapes and like taking selfies and like the song called like Pussy Lips is like playing in the background and I'm like this is what a party is now. It's not like a 90s house party where everyone's red solo cupping, you know. It reminded me of Uncut Gems a little bit. Have you guys seen that?
No, Sagan actually brought that up yesterday.
Yeah,
I get to watch it. He said the same thing.
There's so much energy in the first act of this movie that when the second part hits, the first time I watched it, it did take me out of it a little bit. Not because it was bad. It is just such a shift in mood that it took me a second to be like, oh, this is what we're doing now. This is what the movie is now. So, and I agree with everything you've both said. It did take me out of it a bit. And that's not even, usually people say that as a bad thing. And I'm not saying that, but it was a very like intentional shift in the script.
Yeah. I was a little bit anxious, not throughout the whole of the movie, because I think we'd done a little video on it before this year. I knew it was coming at one point where things are going to fall apart, but I was a little bit anxious. I didn't know exactly how. I was a little anxious when Ivan runs away. I thought we weren't going to see that kid again. I thought Anora was the second act was going to be this like traditional second act where we're looking for him, can't find him, and the third act was just going to be like 30 minutes of Anora like with nothing left and can't piece her life back together and doesn't know what to do. Like I thought it was just going to suddenly fall apart, and it was like, oh, we get to end the movie with. And mind you, we do kind of end on a bit of a sad note. I thought we were going to have 30 minutes of drear and everything's over, but luckily it was only a minute long, little Band-Aid ripoff.
Yeah.
Which, I appreciate.
And like she gets her moment in front of his parents to like, you know, to close the book on Ivan at least.
Yeah.
You know, she's not sitting there and, you know, in agony, like you said, like she finally understands what's happened and why it's happened, and she gets to say that exactly to the right person that needs to hear it. And, you know, it was an awful situation for her, but at least she, you know, can feel, I don't know, can she feel good about what she's done in that at that time?
Yeah, I don't think at any point do I feel like she actually loses face in front of anyone. Like I'm so with her the whole time, and you know, his family is just so shitty that anything they say to her, I'm just like, fuck you guys, the whole time. I'm with Anora the whole time, and obviously she goes through the ringer, and that comes out in the last, you know, shot of the movie, but I don't think they ever get the better of her in this. So.
She has a line in which she says that the whole family is trashy. I think that was a great line to put in there because it's the most accurate word for the very rich Russian people. They're just this trash family, not just them, but the Godfather Torres and the Broken Nose Man, both of which also trashy, terrible at their jobs, and that should be on their years. And I don't know, flows off the tongue like that. Do you guys, between all these characters, and you feel free to say Anora, I know it's easy to pick the protagonist. Do you guys have like a favorite character throughout all of this that you were surprised to like them, to not necessarily like them, but to enjoy and appreciate what's going on?
It's tough to pick one character in this movie, and even I think asking character and performance is two different things here. Because if it was performance, you got to give it to Mikey Madison. I think she does the most heavy lifting in this movie, and she does it phenomenally. My favorite character is probably Toros, though. Like I agree with you, Zach. Like every word out of his mouth got me either laughing or cringing. I think of when he's on the speakerphone and shit's just going down, and you hear him. He's like, "Are you killing her? Are you killing her?" That made me laugh both times. When he gets the text and he like pulls it out from his robe and he's like, No, that killed me. I thought he was so funny, and to take this thankless role of the guy that's has to lead the charge looking for Ivan, the guy who has to kill the fun we're having in this movie, I think he does it so phenomenally. But should also shout out Igor for being a great character. But you guys can maybe expand on him more. But
Yeah, well, like you see him just totally leave that baptism and then what he
yeah,
drives his car off the tow truck or
yeah,
whatever. Like
yeah.
just just obscure comedy like in
Yep.
situations that he's put himself in. And it's just like that mixed with this dramatic backstory that's going on. It's very unique in its comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say for myself here, I guess between all the different characters, I mean, Mikey Madsen's Anora, I think Anora is just such a, I don't know, a great spin on who gets to be the lead of a movie in terms of, who's going to do the right thing. It's this person who very much is not in line with what's acceptable in society, what a young woman shouldn't be doing with her life. Very cool to see that is the big role of the year. But this young gentleman, Mark, I believe his name is Mark Eidelstein, I think, the Russian Ivan.
Ivan, also great.
I
Yeah.
don't really like his character, of course. He's a big old piece of trash, but the actor playing him,
Yeah.
wow, is that
Yeah.
guy good? I don't want to say he's despicable throughout the movie because he does so much that's fun and likable, and he's such an easygoing person until his parents get there, and he's just a little bitch, if you will, if I may use such a bit of term
You
for him.
may.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just he is. Anyway, uh, it's not quite the Joffrey Baratheon of despicableness, but it's very much
No.
this guy's able to just spin into this little worm of like, God, you're such a worthless, like you're a parasite of a human being. You don't have like why are you such a coward?
Do you have any sympathy for him or no?
I have none. I have literally zero sympathy for him.
I don't think I did the first time. The second time when his mom was just giving him the business on the plane and like you can see tears and obviously he fucked up and isn't a good guy, especially for what he does to Anora. I felt the slightest tinge of sympathy for someone that can't stand up to their parents, I guess. But it's a weird take. He's supposed to be a despicable character, but I felt for him a tiny bit on my second watch through.
Yeah, I have a rather large point to be made in terms of kind of the messaging in the movie and the messages that's kind of put out there at the end for Anora's character. But I think a big thing in this movie is something you see with Anora is she uses people for her job. She takes them to the back room. She gets paid. That's the end of it. Like it's just business. Ivan and her go on this big thing where they kind of fall in love throughout everything. And we start the movie seeing that Honora is this person who is constantly the manipulator of the situation. She's the one that goes in, gets the bay, gets out. She doesn't have feelings for this shit. She catches feelings for young Ivan. And we as the audience, like, we're kind of watching Ivan try to propose to her and like clearly, yeah, he's clear it's to get married to stay there. But also after all this time, like he does like her. Like he could have picked anybody with all his money. He picked her. And she falls into this as well. And you get this kind of fallout where it turns out in the end, she didn't go in and get the bag. He was just using her for fun in all reality. And that's the reason. Whereas, for Miss Honora's character to manipulate and use people for the money, like she does need that money. And also, like, they know what they're getting into. They should understand that. She's not lying to them about, oh, I'm in love with all of my customers. She's not. She's just having fun with them, letting them use her body. Like that's what her job
Yeah.
is. For Ivan to do this, that is such a despicable. Could you imagine doing that to somebody, gaining their trust after like a few weeks and a month of love and money, in which you've changed their life for the better and you're going to have this future just to say, like, it's over, it's done, thanks for the fun week? Garbage.
Yeah, for sure.
Unbelievable.
For sure.
No, so he gets no sympathy for me, and he is one of the most unlikable characters I have ever seen in a movie. And I gotta say, this gentleman, Mark Eidelstein, fantastic work on it. I love an actor that can just make me hate them. I love it.
Yeah.
Better. I like that more than when an actor can make me like them. Like I don't know. say what you will. Say what you will, I guess.
Oh, Rudd, that old
Oh,
so and so.
that old so and so. Parks and Recs, Paul Rudd. Okay, Hanging, did you have I know you like Taurus as well, but did you have somebody who stands out, either the actor, the character that they play?
Yeah, I mean, Torres is the one I had the most fun watching on screen for sure. Um, and I mean, Igor is an interesting character because he's kind of like he's kind of Avatar-ish, right? Like audience Avatar, like he's kind of like third person kind of viewing it in like a
Sure.
like an
He's just
independent
put
perspective at
into it.
least.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
also, I think, the like morality character, I guess. Like, I don't know. He seems like he's got the
He
most
is
level
until the
head.
end, right?
he is very
Maybe.
level-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
But
say
he's like Avatarish as in like he's he understands that Ivan is just the biggest piece and they're all doing this just for their own lines of work and to get the same thing that even Anora is chasing is that money and like from the same people.
yeah, I do think he is very much the moral sense of everybody in this, and that he's just not that involved in it. Like, yeah, he's involved in it, and while he's in it for the money, just like everybody else does seem to be, like there's like limits that he's not willing to go past. And not only that, but there's moments where like he is concerned about getting the money. Of course, he's doing the job, but like he's right behind Anora, of course, on screen when she's standing up to I forget the mom's name, but the what is it? Gavina Yegorovov or sorry, Zakharov is the name. Um, he's right behind Honora, standing up for her. Gives Honora a drink on the plane because she stood up to the mother of the family, and in the end, he says, "I think Ivan should apologize to Honora for all this trouble."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very much, not only is he this good, solid moral sense, but like he goes above and beyond in trying to set the stakes up for doing the right thing for others as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's very a moral person. This actor, if I may share a little bit of trivia for you, his name, if I can read my writing, is Yura Borisov. He, I believe, is a young but very successful actor out in Russia, I think.
I think he received an Oscar nom for his work in this movie.
Yes,
Is
he
that
did.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Supporting actor nod. It's
Yeah, he's
wild.
good. Nah, he's very good. I guess while we're kind of teetering, if we want to talk about, are we ready to talk about that final scene? It's kind of a heavy thing. Do we want to keep saving it for our audience?
I I'm ready to get into
All
it.
right, let's get into it. Everybody, let me set the stage for you. So the movie opens. Just kidding. No. So at the very end, after all this, Nora's gone down this deep, dark path of she marries this man. This man doesn't actually love her, goes back to Russia. It's all over. Everything's falling apart. Her one contact, the last person, the chauffeur, Igor, who has been this voice of morality and reason. They're in the car together, and turns out he's kind of does have a very solid heart to him. And they stay in the car together, parked outside of Honora's place, and Honora straddles him, and the two of them engage in sexual intercourse. And what happens in the scene now? It kind of starts going on for a while. I don't know if you fellas started thinking this. I was sitting there, I was like, God, why are we watching this? Like, this movie's at its end. I don't like this is a lot of watching, sex happen on screen. Like, what's the purpose of this? Only to have this kind of little bit of a struggle, I guess, if you will, in which Honora and Igor are in this embrace and kind of leaning close to a kiss. And there's just this kind of back and forth of this physical struggle of like pull and push. And it's just like, man, it's just a struggle there in this one moment, to which Honora responds with just breaking down and crying into tears in Igor's arms, and Igor holding her. What do you guys make of this? What do you get out of it yourselves?
So this was a one shot scene, correct? It was like
Yep.
multiple minutes, one shot,
Mhm.
and he saved the wedding ring. I'm sure that was many tens of thousands of dollars worth. So he gives that to her before, they start doing the business,
Mhm.
in a gesture
Kindness.
of kindness to
And
give it,
then,
to give it like this is at least what I could do for you right now.
yeah.
So
And I'm
And
sure as everybody here knows what a wedding ring symbolizes, it means it's a little bit of a union. After all of this, the two of them have been very, I don't know, I don't want to say Anora was necessarily nice to Igor, but Igor really tried to rebuild some trust in the last 24 hours, and they do have this kind of chemistry. And so he hands her the wedding ring.
yeah, especially the night before they were staying at the house together, I don't know what they're watching, but they're, you know, connecting emotionally, kind of going over the past few days of what they've gone through together.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If I might stop you, Noah here. Sorry, buddy. Noah here is the only guy here who's watched this movie, I think twice now, unless Engen, have you watched it twice?
Just the ones.
Just the one. So I want to take a time, Noah, because you have seen this twice. You know what to feel after seeing that scene when you rewatch it. Let us, as the two guys here, a little bit living in naivety, if you will.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I want to say, what do I get out of it? I guess there's a moment there where there's that little bit of struggle. I couldn't, watching it, I'm not trying to like scapegoat. I don't know what was going on there. What's the push and what's the pull? Who's pulling, who's pushing there? It looks very much like Igor is trying to like pull her down on him and she's kind of fighting it. Is that what's happening there? I don't have it.
So my first watch, I was with you. I was like, I didn't know exactly what happened. I had an idea, and the second viewing, I think, supports it. I think he's just trying to kiss her, and I don't think she wants him to do that. And I think that's the struggle is him just trying to get her head down, and she's just resisting, which obviously has a huge emotional significance. But continue with your thought, maybe.
Okay. So just I'm glad we confirmed that. So to me, what that is kind of a moment to do with is essentially there's this obviously a lack of trust in Anora now for everybody. But I think that's something that's persistent in her this whole time, that she doesn't, you don't really commonly, I guess, I don't know if we really ever do see her kissing Ivan. Like it's not for her. There's
Dude, we are like this.
Good,
I was looking for that on my second watch. The only instance of it is when they're doing lines and like she puts a little Coke on her tongue.
Yeah.
And then they go like that. That is the only instance of kissing.
So for her, I just think what romance is, and like maybe she felt it a little bit for Ivan when they did get married. I think for her, Ivan was this cash cow, but of course, some relationships are actually just built like that in terms of marriage. That's how it can be sometimes. I think that she just has this piece of her that doesn't allow for her to genuinely love others like that, where it's with your heart and not with survival. And of course, why would she know anything beyond her own survival? In that moment as well, I think there's something that she as a character has to learn, in which she always had power throughout this movie. She always had the power because she was the sex worker and everybody around her wanted sex. Everybody wants this euphoric release. And for her, she is euphoria, it seems. She is the physical version of euphoria for so many people. And so after all of that, I think she's kind of had this learning curve of this guy actually didn't care about me. He can have more than just me. And she's learned that. So I think having this moment with Igor in the car is kind of this moment where it's built up to where he's physically starting to pull her, where she's just, I think, has had this learning lesson. It was like she doesn't have all the power in the world. Like I don't know. To me, it's such a raw moment of I guess a loss for Anora, for her character, a loss of the world she always knew.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it's tough to know for sure how in love with Ivan she was, because she's not at first, and the whole thing's over and done real quickly. So we can decide for ourselves like how in love she really was. But the fact that she accepts the proposal means that she in that moment becomes more vulnerable with him than she has with anyone. And then she consistently is waiting for him to help. When Toro shows up at the house, she's like, Vanya? No, it's Toros. And, she keeps saying, like, we got to tell your parents, they'll accept it. Up until the bitter end, she still thinks like she and Ivan are going to work out. And I think that contributes very much to her heartbreak. And I also think a really important part of this movie that I haven't like talked about myself yet is like the sex work of it all, because this movie never is through a judgmental lens for what she does ever. And I know in their like acceptance speeches, Sean Baker and Mikey Madison both, I think, thanked sex workers, and it's a huge part of this movie. And there's no judgment on my end. I also think like sex workers deserve support, but you also have to assume that at 23, we don't know how long she's been doing this for. That's had a major emotional impact on her to where sex has just become like putting on your socks in the morning, you know? So when Igor offers her the ring, she's not having sex with him because she wants to. She's doing it as a thank you, which maybe isn't how, you know, sex should go. So I just think that's something underlying throughout that scene too that we haven't touched on too much. But
yeah, what does it all mean to her? No matter when she's having sex. Yeah.
No, she laughs at Ivan a lot because he finishes so fast. Like in the opening scenes, you just see her giggling through her times with him. So yeah.
I don't know. I feel very bad for the character of Anora, just to know all that she's capable of, and yet, like you said, what is she not capable of now because of her lifetime of, you know, I don't want to say it's a trauma to go to work as a sex worker, but you know, you lose value in things. You desensitize to the fun things of life.
Yeah.
I saw another thing somewhere out there. I don't know how I saw so many different postings and whatnot. Something came up about Anora, and it was like, through Anora, watch Mikey Madsen's character lose her innocence. And it's like, I'm pretty sure
it's gone.
Pretty sure that beautiful innocence that you think, you know, I think it might be out the window. What do you mean also? What is innocence for a sex worker? Like, really? You know? You don't have it bad until you marry a Russian oligarch and lose him 2 days later. Like, I got a chuckle out of that. I don't know. Maybe people will listen to this and be like, "These guys are a bunch of numbskulls, and they don't even know what they're talking about." I don't know. These other people, I don't think they really get it. So let's see. Other little bits of topics. I don't know. Engen, did you have anything you want to throw on that scene, or are we good to keep on moving this gravy train?
Keep moving. I'll probably hop back onto it once we get rolling.
Good deal. Okay, did you guys have a favorite relationship between characters in this movie? Anybody? I can go first. Oh, Noah's ready.
What else is new? The floor is your... No, I kid. I was just going to mention a fun one is Taurus and Broken Nose Guy, whose name I can't remember right now. Just bicker like a married couple throughout the whole movie. And they're actually in the first like party scene at Ivan's house. They like kiss at midnight. I like their dynamic the whole time.
Do they kiss at midnight? I think they just give a hug.
It's not on the lip. No, not on the lips. I think they do a little peck on the cheek, but yeah.
But it's like, I don't know if we get a...
No, I don't think it's romantic, no. Between
mid-30s Broken Nose Guy and mid to late 40s Taurus. What a groundbreaking LGBTQ movie Anora can be. Let's see here. For me, I really liked I did, of course, I liked the Igor and Anora thing. I think it's a very revealing relationship between the two of them, more than we get to see between Anora and anyone else. Ivan and his parents, I think, is a really awesome bit of relationship, of course, where it's just this trashy family. I don't know, very much a mirror to how a lot of families in America can be, of just overbearing parents. You know, well, I guess one overbearing parent, one underbearing parent. Just not that all families are like that, but where you can see these two scales of what things can look like, to this child who just can have whatever he wants and doesn't really need to try hard. Like, I don't know. To me, it seems like seems like an accessible little storyline of letting your parents down. I'm sure we've all been there a time or two of just not proud of something we did, but to have a character that just keeps doing it, I think is really fun. Where everything is horrible.
And you know, Taurus has the line too, and like Anora's tied up at the mansion where he's like, I've been dealing with his shit since he was 6 years old. And there's like emotion in that line. Like you believe him. Ivan's been like this for a long time.
Well, for Torres, I don't really it's not like Ivan where I don't feel for him at all. I do have sympathy for Torres. I don't think Torres is a great guy. I think he's kind of also a piece of work himself, where he's constantly complaining about how hard he's got it, even though, to be fair, he's not too far off from being the son of the oligarch himself. He's the godfather. Like, he's got the connection. He's steady in life.
Escalade.
Yeah, he's living life well. He's got a broken nose friend he hangs out with all the time.
But he's so subservient to them too, just like Ivan is. So.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I will say I do feel for him where it's like I can't imagine having to take care of someone else's nightmare child and actually get zero recognition for even trying to take that on.
Yeah.
Have to leave
Yeah.
a baptism that you're
Yeah.
performing.
What is it that he says again when he looks at the phone?
He
No.
goes, no. It's so funny.
It is.
Oh.
I didn't. I'll say when that second act began, like I could feel that shift going on. Of course, just different, way too bright of light compared to all the fun stuff. And right from the get go with him, I was like, this is this is going to be a fun bit of nonsense happening here. I also think I don't know the different ways that we get to look at Anora and Ivan. Of course, obviously, you get euphoria to the sudden shift of everything's falling apart. Anora's life so kind of ruined it away. Um, I think it's very smooth for the two actors. I think they do a fantastic job of just like I don't even want to say there's a shift in what's happening because there's not a shift. It's just this. It's a very gradual line of like things change between the two of them and not where like everybody's watching these big changes between the characters. Like it just unfolds very slowly and very, I don't know, well controlled for all of the things they go through together in like what's a 24-hour period of married to not married. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, she's kind of dealing with that a lot on her by herself too, obviously, because he's gone and she's learning about Ivan through Toros and through all these things that they're trying to do to find him. And I think that's how it plays into, it happens slowly over screen.
Yeah.
It takes a while to find Ivan and to finally meet him in his true self, which is actually in front of his parents. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say I gotta vent about a particular character I hate so much, but I'll lead into it with volunteering you guys. Do you guys have a character that you like didn't like in this movie where you're like, God, I can't stand that person?
Diamond the stripper. Oh my
You know how much I
god.
hated Diamond? What a
Oh
piece
my-
of work she is!
Oh my god, I hated her.
No,
both
that's
times.
despicable. She kept showing up doing the
Oh.
wrong thing. Oh, come on. She just always had a problem. She was always a problem.
She's always trying to start shit. Always. And then like the way she talked, like, too, when she's in the like getting ready room and this girl's next to her and she's like, "Excuse." I'm like, who the fuck are you? No, Diamond sucks.
Yeah.
Great performance by the actress.
Yeah.
She sucks.
I'll say technically I think Anora starts it in our what we get to see because she is approached by Diamond and Diamond asks, "Did you dance with my one client?"
He's trying to start shit, or she's trying to start shit a little bit. Anora's certainly not trying to de-escalate anything.
No, she never is. And
No.
But that's not her job, I guess. Anora can do a
No.
lot of things. She doesn't need. She's definitely not a de-escalator. She's an
I kind of
EO.
wish I treated conflict the way Anora treats it throughout this entire movie.
I love what's the guy's name? The guy who runs the nightclub. Is it Maddie?
I don't remember. He's
Max,
kind of a fun,
maybe.
Max. Yeah, he's kind of a fun character.
Yeah, the way that their relationship is, Anora and him, is actually a really fun one. Of just where he's trying, like, doing a good job of just talking to her and like not trying to be a jerk and trying to, and she just walks all over him every conversation and like, he never gets mad. Like, yeah, she's right.
Like, until you give me a 401k and health insurance, you're not going to tell me when I work. And he's like, well, that's not going to happen. And they both like laugh and she leaves. So
yeah.
That was good. That was good. And it was like done. You didn't have to deal with him anymore. Like, yeah, that was good.
I appreciate I think he's a very good boss in terms of like, yeah, he's asking for things, but like she's asking for things too, and like they can't meet in the middle, so it's like whatever, like no problem. Go on, come back if you want, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, Diamond is I got pissed. I would get pissed when she'd show up. I hated Diamond. Okay, costumes. I know, not really a big conversation started here. Costumes. Did you guys have like a look in this movie that you were like, cool, I like that a lot?
My answer is incredibly lame, but Igor's like black hoodie. I was like, he kind of looks like me. I wear a lot of those.
Igor looks nothing like John Bernthal, if you will.
Yeah, John Bernthal meets John Oliver. That's what I've always said.
Amen, my man. Amen. The of course Anora has so many just fun whatever you throw her in here. I guess you like kind of these classy but very revealing looks and whatnot. It's just like it's very what her character is. I think it's very fitting for her. Does a lot to also extend who she can be in the role. But to me, I think the favorite thing that anybody's wearing, Ivan is always dressed in such a way that's like it fits him, and it annoys me in a way. He's always wearing like over layers, but nothing underneath.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
got those
And like,
yellow sunglasses on
yeah,
when
I
they
was gonna
first get to the
say
New Year's party.
tinted glasses.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess I don't want to say people our age group really were dressing like that ever, but like some people would dress akin to that,
Yeah.
similar in a way. And like
Yeah.
it never made sense to like that style never. I didn't get it, I guess. I guess I wear flannels and t-shirts and that's about it for me.
It's kind of I think the word is fuckboy look, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Like unzipped hoodie to here with no shirt underneath, like
yeah.
I'm not gonna do that personally.
I gotta say he has that line when they get married and they're walking the Vegas Strip and he's yelling about this is my wife, very Borat of him, but
Borat, yeah.
yeah, at one point he yells, "I am American." It's like
Yeah.
not quite, like not you can get close.
I think we have yet to mention the best character in the movie. Billy, the owner of the candy shop, had me rolling. He only shows up twice, and the first time he's like, "How many times have I told you not to be smoking dope in here?" And then it cuts to like Ivan giving him like a rap, and he's just standing there. And then the second time was something straight out of Tim Robinson, where they take the baseball bat and smash all the shit up, and the camera like pans on him, and
just slow zoom.
He goes, "What the hell?" And that got me like both times. I thought that was so funny. So shout out to Billy. I think he's a highlight of the movie. And again, like just props to Sean Baker for including something like that because it doesn't need to be in it, and I think it enhances it a lot. So love Billy.
this Billy role as well as the role of the old Italian man from Tim Robinson. I think there's a niche in all comedy of having an old person play this just outlandishly random snap of the finger funny moment. Like there's something to it.
It's like hey, my cabbages.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess I guess in my own life I'll share. I work at an Alzheimer's old folks home, and it's not really funny that they have Alzheimer's, but everybody's pretty old, and they're all very fun, and they just have great senses of humor. And sometimes they'll just out of pocket say just something, everybody here, I'm sure, at one point with their grandparents, who just said something funny. For me, I get to go to work, and everybody wants to be a comedian, because everyone's trying to socialize, all the old timers. And it's very funny when old people are funny. Something about it is I think everybody has their guard down, and they think everybody, when you get old, you try to be proper, but you put 40 people above the age of 80 together, and you get a group of comedians. Anyway, something fun about people when you get old. I look forward to aging, I'll say, because of it. I don't know, just that old step of life, if you will. Whoosh. So before we really got recording here, Noah mentioned a previously Best Picture award-winning movie. This movie is a Best Picture award winner. There's a 2019 won the award, 2018 won the award, 2018 movie, The Green Book, if you will. The Green Book, a movie that a lot of people have been talking about. Murmurs in the shadows of podcast and motion pictures. Will they? Won't they? When are they going to do it? When are we going to do The Green Book? And someday we'll get to it. But I gotta bring it up here. For those of you that don't understand this little bit of drama that my very disgusted looking friend Noah Lane in the bottom corner of this broadcast is eyeing up. The Green Book. We have a little drama here. I love that movie. Noah doesn't like that movie.
Isn't it just Green Book?
I don't know.
Why do you keep saying the? Drop the. It's cleaner.
It's Green Book.
It is just Green Book. The Green Book is a good movie. Anyway. Got Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali's in it.
Viggo.
It is a movie about this black pianist from New York. Don Shirley's his name, if you will. He's going to drive on down into the Deep South to play a bunch of concerts he's been put on to play. At the time, I believe the 1960s, black people are not very welcome down in such an area, of course. Don Shirley is, of course, not constantly in state of fear of being lynched. I'm sure his character, I'm sure his person was at the time, but that's not a threat in the movie. That's not genuinely going to happen in this movie. He does get into a lot of trouble. Viggo Mortensen, a white man, an Italian white, if you will, is hired to drive along with him and whatnot. And the two go on this adventure together and learn the meaning behind the power that both of these characters have. So, how does this relate to Anora, if you will? Anora must go on such a similar journey, going through this world, the nighttime of New York City, trying to find her husband, this unknown world, trying to save this little bit of light that she has. What does Mahershala Ali have to do? He has to go on this journey into an unbeknownst land, the Deep South, and try to find not necessarily his husband along the way, but learn how to get through this life and keep the power that he's trying to have as just a man that's not welcome. Bada bing, bada boom. We have two very similar movies. Noah, you like this movie. This movie's very similar to Green Book. Noah, you like Green Book. There. I said it, and I'm glad I did.
That was a stretch.
No, that's not a stretch.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
To me, this feels like a movie if you combine two Adam Sandler movies. It's like Uncut Gems and then pick any of his like slapstick comedies, because this has both of that in there. So
to me, it was a lot like I know Neon did also, the production company. Neon also had a good hand in Parasite. It had a very similar kind of comedic dig in the movie as that, but it was able to be a lot lighter, I feel. Had a lot more easiness to it compared to the heavy side of Parasite.
Also, the switch up in Parasite is a lot more dramatic, but like both similar in that they're going down one path and then it kind of just shifts and goes down a different one. But yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of Sean Baker's directing in this movie, do you think if you take all of these same elements, the same script, same set work, same costumes, same people, do you think another director is able to come in and get the same type of a magic? Do you think the best picture win is there for if somebody else was in that role? Do you think Steven Spielberg could have directed this? Probably not. But anybody else?
So I think every one of Sean Baker's films has explored sex work in some way, and this being the most prominent and forward-focused one, at least, that he's done. He did this for what, $2 or $4 million, this movie, with a crew of, I don't know, somewhere around like 50-ish crew members in total. I mean, it doesn't make any sense how he's able to do this. I mean, they were just like such a mobile crew, like going through New York. I mean, just as just a small group of people filming this beautiful looking movie that he's been working his craft to film and create. I mean, he's used the same cinematographer, I think, for all of his films. So it's just cool to think about in that aspect that he's been really exploring these topics and creating movies that explore very similar characters. Annie, very similar to other characters where they're just trying to find their way, and yeah, I think this is like more of just a true Sean Baker film in that way, where he's been this is kind of like the peak of what he's been creating his whole career.
I'd be very interested to see another Sean Baker movie, because I don't think I have seen another one, and to just know that he's the type of a director who kind of keeps a team moving along. For me, I'm always very interested in a filmmaker or whatever position they might be in, to just kind of build this team of connections where they're not really hopping in and what does the studio want me to work with here? That's fine when people do that. I'm not trying to be Mr. Pretentious or anything. Not that it's pretentious to work with people, but I think about like David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti as his composer. I think about Alfred Hitchcock, and I forget Hitchcock had a composer. You think of Steven Spielberg, John Williams, just to have this consistent people that know you and you know them, and you can just keep this connection. I mean, when the three of us are talking on here and everything, like just to know, like, I'm not gonna say we're all finishing each other's sentences, but like, there's an air of understanding of where we're coming from and knowing our background. So to see a movie show that through, where like there's not a lapse between things. Like there's not a lapse between what sets are we building. There's not a lapse between what's the camera going to be looking at or focusing on. What's the music going to sound like? So I'm happy to hear you say that you think this is not just something anybody could have thrown together, and that this is something that's a peak for Sean Baker. So I hope to see more peaks, if you will. Certainly not valleys. I don't want to see valleys out of Sean Baker. Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys, is anything like ripping out of your chest that's still staying out there? I've got no more focused questions. If there's anything you need to do, is there anything to cover, anything at all, if you will?
I think we've done a good job. I just like want to say, as far as movies released in the past like 3-4 years, this is in my top 10, if not my top 5. It's rare. I mean, we used to go to a new release in the year 2019. We saw like a movie every single weekend, and so I do not have the viewing resume I used to have. So that's not saying a whole lot, but I don't remember the last new release I actively sought out watching twice. I couldn't even tell you what it was. Probably Endgame. So I liked this movie a lot, and there's just so much there to kind of like look into further, and just impressed me. So yeah, I was surprised. Like I honestly think going in with the filter of this is a Best Picture winner hurt the first viewing a little bit, because you're expecting such greatness that you're like, I was kind of like, this one Best Picture, really? Like, it's very good, but it doesn't feel Oscar-y. And then I don't know, the second time really made it click for me. So I was a big fan. I might even watch it again at some point here.
Good. Cool.
Yeah.
I think we made a point at one point earlier on this year about what the politics behind Oscar winning movies, not like, yeah, there's a politics side of things in terms of like what are people expecting to win, like what's a justice that people want done for movies and whatnot. And looking at this from afar, I didn't catch this feeling. I think I had felt like there could be a Wicked win, because Wicked was a movie that a lot of people wanted to see. So I agree. I think it kind of hurt it because I didn't picture Anora being so, I don't want to say simplistic, but just accessible. I think I used very early on in this.
Yeah.
It's very manageable of a storytelling between the artistic side of things as well as what you're seeing simply in terms of just enjoyment and entertainment. And I hope that we move towards this. I think this is a model type of a movie that, it's only not that 4 million is throwaway chump change, but like that's not a ton of movie compared to how some movies get made these days. I don't think anyway.
No.
I think even, I mean, it was maybe even a bigger budget for the Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell, Anyone But You, or Anybody But You movie.
Oh yeah, they had way more.
So just to know that this is so doable.
Yeah, it's an indie film. Like he wrote and created it like himself, and then sold it himself. Like it's so cool that he does it. And I mean, his other movies are, like you said, not as accessible of like enjoyment of the story. Like the other ones are heartbreaking. Like watching two kids like live out of a motel with like no familiar support whatsoever. Like that is not fun to watch on screen. Like in neither is a girl getting her heart broken by a cruel man, cruel boy, but he makes it enjoyable with this screwball comedy and having these other characters that you can understand and enjoy their storylines too. And yeah, thank God the Academy did not give Wicked an Oscar Best Picture win. If that happened, I would have been out. But
I am out on the Oscars.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm already so far out that it doesn't matter. But
I'm not out. This did something for me. This showed me like, hey, they're willing to do it. Like
kind of like the Parasite win, honestly.
But you scrubbed Denis Villeneuve, so I have no respect for you. So, like, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's funny, like you guys have called this accessible, and I agree with you. It is an accessible story. This isn't a movie I think anyone can watch.
No,
Like
no,
that's
and
for
that's.
sure. Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think once you watch it though, it's easy to watch.
Yeah,
You
if you
know,
commit
it's
to what
hard
you're
for
in for.
someone. I think it's hard for someone to click onto it, but I think it has a more mainstream audience than I think one would expect
Yeah.
from like just maybe reading about it.
Yeah.
I think I got to text my mom about it. She had planned to watch it, and I think she may have actually. No, she beat me to watching The Brutalist. But my mom asked what movie we're going to do this next week. I said
Cola
Anora,
Net.
and I got to ask her what she thinks of it because like this is up her alley, not necessarily the sex worker things. Like I don't know whose alley that's up anyway. But I think that in terms of just this constant moving screwball comedy, like that's something my mom likes. That's something I love. So it's
Yeah.
Mr. Nole, if you will.
Cola Net. Watching The Brutalist. Hell yeah.
She's in. She's in.
Beat me to that one.
She's a big she is a big movie watcher. I was gonna say for a long time, Tarantino, I think at one point we brought up, hates the 2000s of movies. He thinks it's a low point in movie making. I agree. It's not a great time. I think there's a lot of good movies in there, but not a perfect time. Well, you get The Dark Knight. Like there's a lot of good in there.
Right. The 2020s is definitely worse so far,
Mhm.
unless we have like a resurgent 5 years here.
I want to say I think there's two things that really factor into the 2020s being so terrible for movies. Number one, of course, being COVID absolutely destroyed what the market of movie making is and how to get to a movie. Just like a
For sure.
tsunami that hit the
Yeah.
capital of movies in the world and
Yeah.
movie theaters. And so things are very different. That being said, um, the marketing done for movies and putting them into movie theaters for such a short amount of time, I've never understood it. It always bored the heck out of me the thought of this. The length of time people used to fight for to keep their movie in movie theaters to try to keep people to go and see their movie so it was actually seen by people, extraordinary a thing of how much time. Now it's like they're fighting to keep it in for 45 days. I think that's the Disney standard, and that's like the gold standard now to get your movie in a movie theater 45 days. They used to try to get 10 weeks in a movie theater. All right. That's a long time to be in a movie theater. Okay.
It you say COVID killed it, but it's streaming
Streaming.
that has done a huge part. Like
Yeah.
having the streaming services make original content and or buy the rights for it so
Hmm.
that it becomes original for them. I
It's
mean
a
that has I mean you have Martin Scorsese like on a streaming contract making whatever he
tour.
wants to because they're making him letting him make whatever he wants to.
Yeah. I yeah, I think it's a mix between the COVID and the streaming definitely began as a big start. I think once COVID hit it, just they were able to capitalize on that. And
Yeah.
I would like him to say on a wrap up of that bit of conversation, if I may, who are we as an audience but the Anora of this story in terms of just being desensitized after they streaming services, after they throw movie after movie they can make with their infinite money that they get from streaming, just garbage movies that people put on trying to find a good movie and they get stuck watching trash only for them to have to lower their expectation and lower their expectation for these gold standards like an Anora or a Green Book, if you will, to just not get the light of day. So I'm very bitter about that. I think streaming services are the diamonds of the world, if you will. No, not those diamonds. Okay. Well, I don't know. If you guys got other stuff you want to talk about, guys, for all of you listening, thank you for listening to Anora. That's all we're going to talk about with it. I don't know. We as gentlemen talked before this about baseball. I don't know if there's any ground to cover with that again. Talked severance. We talked a whole lot of stuff. So I don't know if there's more ramblings to be done in terms of this. Anything?
Shout out to Val Kilmer.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
maybe my dad's favorite actor ever besides Adam Sandler. So
Wow.
yeah, Tombstone, Top Gun. I mean, I don't need to say any more than that, but he had plenty of other good stuff besides that. So RIP to a good one. We love Val Kilmer.
I think the
Thank
most.
you.
Oh, sorry, Inga.
Thank you to Tom for putting him in Maverick.
Yeah. Also
Yeah, for real. What a great little extra cherry on top towards the end of his career you got to have.
I would encourage you all to watch that scene
yeah.
in the
It's
next couple days.
unbelievable.
Just for Val.
That is a great suggestion. I think about when Gene Hackman had died, some people had rushed to capitalize on it and try to make some content. We actually have a video in the works for our channel here. Like seriously, it's in the works. I'm so angry about it. Gene Hackman died. ABC News within a month put together a news special on the final days of Gene Hackman. So unnecessary. 95-year-old man with Alzheimer's. Really? You think that's a story? Yeah, it's called Being 95. You die. Like that's the end of it. There's not a news story. Anyway, I'm concerned about that, but something that I thought was just plain pathetic. I don't mean to insult any one of Gene Hackman's works. There are certainly some that are better than others, some that are more mainstream than others, more likable than others. You guys ever seen the movie Runaway Judge?
No.
No, never even heard of it. I think Dustin Hoffman's in it as well. Netflix was bumping that up for like a month straight. That was like one of the top movies they would suggest. Runaway Judge, Gene Hackman. Like you just have access to that Gene Hackman movie and no others. So today actually I think on Hulu top thing there, first image on there was Tombstone. I don't want to say you capitalize anything. What a classy way to do it. Put the guy's best role on there. He just died. Put his best role on there. To pull up that screen, 2 days after he's passed and see one of the greatest movies with one of the greatest actors. Well, I don't know if I can call it, but with one of the greatest roles a person can do with their lifetime. The feeling I get to have in my heart of like, God, that really sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks. So
yeah,
I don't want to say it's ever okay to capitalize on the death of a sick person, but it's okay when you do it in such a way that actually makes people feel
makes
for them.
sense. Yeah.
I'll say if you put Unforgiven on the front of Netflix and you use Gene Hackman as Wild Bill on that cover, I'd say hell yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Send him out with a bang. Anyway, all right. Well, yeah, shout out to old Val Kilmer. Yeah, so check out other things. Give this a like. Tell other people about it. Leave a comment if you've got suggestions. People have been dropping stuff. We've actually got a little. I don't know if I'm ready to call it hate comments yet. We got some insults.
We're getting there.
We have insults. I haven't heard this,
dude. I don't.
Noah, you should stay away.
You should stay away, dude. It's a little like targeted. Somebody at one comment had air about you, my man. It wasn't. I like I said, it's not hate comments. It was really. I think the guy was just making a joke, and I thought it honestly is funny, but I get it. If they were dropping stuff about me, I'd probably don't. Anyway, engagement is the goal. Leave comments.
There we go.
Please, commenters out there. Don't make fun of Noah for any reason. He's a very nice guy.
I cannot take it. So
if you gotta go for somebody, please come after me if you will. But just know I also don't think I can take it. No. So thank you all for your comments and whatnot. Movie suggestions are great. If you just try to engage, say something on this or on any of the reels we have. Seriously. I love getting right back. I love seeing stuff. Understand whatever I write back is likely always going to be a joke, so don't take anything seriously because I certainly won't for this. But great hearing from you. Thanks for listening. Hope you all watch Anora. Hope you like it. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye. See you around. That was a whole episode of the Whole Other Podcast. It's over now. The podcast is done.